Hello everyone, Bashar here. We are together with another raid video. In this video I am going to discuss how you should progress in the game, where your priorities should lie, so to speak. So you start the game, you pick Kale, and if you are a new player and you didn't pick Kale, just reroll right away. I mean, if there has not been too much time since you started, because I mean, take it from one of those players who didn't pick Kale from the get-go, it's not a good idea. You need Kale at the beginning. He is pretty useful. So let's go on. You pick Kale, and your first goal is to get that Kale up to 6 stars as quickly and as is humanly possible. So you start from 3 stars anyway. You are progressing through the campaign, learning what's what, etc. And the moment you get Kale to level 30, you should just sacrifice 3 food, 3-star champions to get him to rank 4. And by the time these go by, you should be getting 4 login rewards, lifesteal set pieces, and they have their stats pre-designed, and putting them on Kale gives Kale a nice amount of survivability. So you should also farm the faction wars in the first few days, because they will be all open, and get some glyphs on that gear and upgrade that gear as quickly as possible to level 16, and work on getting Kale to level 40. And you should also be leveling some other characters in the meanwhile, some useless characters, and of course also keep leveling useful ones like Ultimate Death Knight Rondo or whoever you might have. And finally, when that Kale gets to level 40, and you should be trying to climb to hard campaign at this point, you should try finishing normal. And as you know, or as you might not know, stage 12-3 is the way to go, and the normal version of this, and the hard version of this. So that's the sweet spot. It gives a lot of XP. It doesn't give the highest XP, but the stuff that you get from this place sells for the most silver. And since its XP is only a little lower, this is the sweet spot. So when you're new to the game, this is the place where stage 12-3 brutal is the place to be. So after you get to level 40, you need 4 more 4-star food to get to 5 stars, and at that point you should be at hard for sure, and you should be able to farm hard solo, and you should be working towards getting your Kale to 6 stars. This time you need to climb to level 50 and get 5, blah blah. And when you are at 60, actually that will be quite the journey. And during that journey, you should be trying to climb into hard, brutal campaign and push through 12-3. The thing is, Kale is the perfect color. Blue is the perfect color for that place, and you could struggle with some waves in between. You should just take some other guys with you from your collection to pass those floors, because Kale is able to manage stage 12-3 solo with that lifesteal gear and 2 other artifacts, whatever 2 artifacts you might have. Also guys, you should spend your first 800 gems on opening Kale's masteries. You go in here, you select the masteries, and you click on some random place, and it says unlock all scrolls, and that will cost you 800 gems to do it. That should be done. After that, you should be fully unlocking the mine, and after that there's the gardening, but that's very expensive, and I mean it should be done, but it will be done later. So anyway, let's assume you get your Kale to 6 stars and you are actually farming campaign stage 12.3, right? And that's the first goal that you should strive to reach. And you also fully book Kale in the meanwhile, obviously, because you will be getting a lot of books from the challenges, missions, etc. And finally, and in the meanwhile, your Kale would be obviously stronger. You would be doing easy campaign. You would be climbing to normal campaign, probably doing that too in the meanwhile, because a 6-star Kale with that lifesteal set should be able to do it. So this is the most important thing in the game, guys, because there is nothing like it that gives so much in return for so little effort. So the way that you should be doing the clan boss is like this. You should be getting the last chest out of the boss you are able to get. So for example, let's say you can get the last chest from hard with 3 keys, and then that's what you should do. You should get this chest with 3 keys, and you should spend your 4th and last key on normal, and in a little while it will go down to 2 keys, 2 1 1. And then you should start forcing brutal, etc. That's how you should go. So I mean, campaign stage 12-3 is mandatory, so that's why I went first. But actually the most important thing is the clan boss, because if you manage to get the last chest out of, let's go back here, if you manage to get the last chest from this one and this one, and you are actually in a clan that kills them both every day, which you know awards the double number of chests, and you are looking at approximately 1 sacred shard every 3 days and around 1 legendary book every 3 days or so, not to mention a lot of gems, gear, etc. So this is the most important, and there's nothing in this game that requires that little investment for that big rewards. If we say Doom Tower, for example, I mean, hard Doom Tower gives some sacred shards and legendary books, and I mean, you need to be really strong to be able to progress there compared to this. So what to do? I mean, Kale is good enough to get you done with hard, I would say, and you should also turn off Kale's A2, because even though that's the best skill in the campaign, because it does a lot of damage and then gives you your turn meter back, so you can practically play again. In the clan boss, it's not that good because it doesn't poison, and even the weakest poison placed by the A1, the basic ability, does more damage than that A2 on its own. So poison, HP burn, blah blah, that sort of stuff is the way to go, and you should prioritize the clan boss team over everything. So normally, guys, there's a treatment that you do with your champions, right? The champions you use get all level 12 gear, all level 8 gear, depending on your and most champions don't get the fully leveled accessories, because accessories are too expensive to level, and the clan boss team should be the exception for this. They should get best for everything, right? They should get the best glyphs, they should get the level 16 accessories, they should get them, because guys, I mean, you do some upgrades like this and you never know. For example, if your hard clan boss is going down to 2 keys instead of 2, right? 3, right? And that means you save a key, and that means you can get double the chest from easy, because let's say you were doing 3 key hard and 1 key normal, and now you will be able to do 2 1 1, 2 hard, 1 normal, 1 easy, or maybe even you would be able to do 4 key brutal. There's that. Always keep in your mind that you are able to climb, right? And know the damage thresholds. So for example, if you want to 4 key brutal, you need around 5.5 million. 5.5 million damage per key gets you the brutal last chest. For hard, I think it's like 2.5 million or so. Yeah, 2.7 million, 2.8 million, something around that line. I mean, and easy and normal should be really very quick. I mean, easy is just 1.1 million. I mean, Kale should be able to handle that for you pretty quickly. And if you have Ronda, the promotion has recently ended, but I mean, most of us should have Ronda. I would say Ronda's masteries are worth opening for 800 gems as well. So, as I said, give them the full treatment, to full VIP treatment, leveled up accessories, etc. For example, this was in my old clan boss team, and look at the stuff I have done. I mean, it's glyphed and decent glyphs too. It has very nice gear. I mean, for me at the time. This has been recently changed, I would say, because it has no glyphs. That's weird. I guess I recently changed it. Yeah, Yeah, I did recently change it. I gave it to someone else. So, and as you can see, I mean, that's a lot of investment here, and it overdoes it. But the thing is, guys, as I said, if you save a key, it means you can climb a difficulty, or maybe you can get 2 chests from the lower difficulty. And also, guys, I would like to add that you should leave your clan if your clan is not killing the difficulties that you are damaging. So for example, you are in a new clan, I mean you are new to the game, and you are damaging easy and normal, and you are looking forward to kill or damage hard at some point. It should be near, because hard happens pretty quickly, and if they are not killing it, you are in the wrong clan. You should be in a clan that kills them all, because guys, as I said, hard requires like 2.5 million damage, 2.7 million damage to get the last key per chest. So the ideal version would be single key, easy, single key, normal, and hopefully 2 key hard. And as I said, that is not very far. I mean, you can reach that in 1 week's playtime or so. The climbing will be a little harder, and don't be afraid to experiment with ideas, because guys, I mean, there are very famous teams out there that everyone knows how to do, but the thing is, you will be limited by your collection, right? You will be limited by whatever you get from your first sacred shards, void shards, etc. I was like that, and I just looked for the best, and I never stop upgrading, never stop regearing. I know it wastes a lot of silver, but the value of reaching that nightmare chest and the ultra nightmare chest is insane, because the nightmare chest, the last nightmare chest, more specifically, I'll go here and show again. So this chest, guys, only this one though, not these. This chest is the first chest that is able to drop everything: sacred shards, legendary books, epic books, void shards, everything drops from it. That's the first chest. So jumping into this is a huge game changer for you, and this chest is the much better version of that chest, and these do not comply. These are slightly better than brutal chest only. So you have to get to the last one. If you cannot get to the last one, it's not worth it. And if you are, it is worth it. So let's say you do like 18 million damage to Ultra Nightmare, and then that means if you spend all of your keys here, you are getting this one. Worth it. Just sacrifice Nightmare. And then you should work your way to getting down to 3 keys on this one, and then try Nightmare. That's how it goes. So let's say the clan boss business is done, and by done I mean you are getting the chest from Ultra Nightmare every day and the Nightmare chest for every day. So then that's you done-ish. What to focus next? Because I've seen people make mistakes here, and that's actually why I prepared this video. So the next most important thing would be, I'd say, hard Doom Tower, because at that point, if you are really getting the last chest from Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare, you are definitely finishing Doom Tower, right? But hard Doom Tower is something else. So hard Doom Tower requires a lot of investment as well, but it is second best after the clan boss, right? You invest in there and you get a return. So as you can see here, I'm on floor 109. And I have already received 1 sacred shard and 1 legendary book, I think, and a lot of stuff. And I am due for receiving another sacred shard today, hopefully. So, as you see that this is very doubtful. I mean, I am forcing it very much by being here. My collection is not enough, so I am practicing what I preach, guys. I am forcing it. I mean, I spend hours on these horrible floors because I am not strong enough. But I mean, I could high roll, I could be lucky, I could perfect the strategy with whatever I have, and I finally pass through these 2 levels. And that's what you should do. And you should definitely invest on your clan boss team, and you should be thinking ahead. So don't just make a team for these floors and start failing here, because there are serious jumps in this. So the first few floors are not bad, but after this point, they become, after floor 70 or so, they become faster than you. I mean, most likely, if you haven't prepared for it, because they start surpassing 200 speed at these points. And the HPs, the defenses, the attacks become insane. So just try to make something that can at least make you ignore some of these. But for example, I have an Inquisitor Shamael, and with 3 buffs he can ignore 100% defense with his A2 and does a lot of damage. So I just single shot the most dangerous target, and that's what I went for. I did a lot of CC, poisons, etc., and I forced my way through this. Of course, there are far better teams, but I mean that management to get through this, and every rotation, every month, I'm getting a huge deal out of this. Thousands of energy, 1 or 2 sacred shards, 1 or 2 legendary books, 2 void shards. I mean, that's the stuff I should not be getting if I stop where normally people stop. So if you are building a character with the Doom Tower in mind, gauge your account and gear those characters accordingly. Because, for example, for me right now, I am having trouble here because after these floors they go crazy, like 240, 250 speeds, and I'm not faster. And playing first is very important here because they do insane damage. So you have to take control somehow. And that's why I have to rely on an arbiter to play first. But that brings a condition, right? I mean, arbiter itself is not extremely good. So you are bringing a subpar champion for the sake of playing first. There's that. You also lose the utility that slot would bring, right? And you can face certain characters that make your life harder, like Tormin, because you need the speed boost, the turn meter boost from arbiter, and that says, okay, I can freeze you now. And make no mistake, you will see Tormin here most of the time. I don't really know if I have it here, but last time that's when I gave up because it was very, very hard. So, but of course, if this is absolutely impossible for you, don't go for this. But at these floors, speed go up to 210s, 220s, and it varies from champion to champion. So you should keep this in mind. So you should try to have like 300 accuracy on those hard Doom Tower champions, 230-ish speeds. I mean, sufficient HP, defense, etc. So you can survive there, right? I mean, I'm not talking about Brog, Nisir, blah blah face roll teams, right? I'm talking about fighting your way through this. Say, like, for example, these were 4.5 hours for me. Floor, I got stuck at the boss at the time, so I'm moving floors like this. Boss and 9 levels of trash. And boss and 9 levels of trash was 4.5 hours for me. And yesterday I think it was more than 2 hours. And today I'm going to quit at some point, and that will be it for me. But as I said, Doom Tower hard team is extremely important. Even though it has lower priority, I would say the same for Hydra. If you are building a champion for Hydra, I mean a champion that's notoriously powerful in Hydra, but not that powerful in other places, you should build that with build that champion with that in mind, right? So if you are aiming at hard and brutal Hydra, you should try to make a character that's viable for brutal Hydra. Let's say Royal Guard, Husk, Uko, right? That kind of champions, because I mean Husk doesn't really have too much value in any other place. I wouldn't say the same for the others, but what's this? Oh, I wouldn't say the same for the others. They have their uses elsewhere, but so the priority thing is, guys, clan boss, hard Doom Tower, and then faction wars come after that, because I've seen people really be confused. Imagine, guys, you are leveling a character just for the sake of faction wars. That is only acceptable when you are missing like maybe 5 or 10 stars for Lydia, right? I mean, because if you are thinking, okay, I'm not using this guy anywhere else, that's a huge waste, right? Because you invest around 10,000 energy in that champion, you gear it, millions of silver, etc., and you just use it for faction wars. That's not very acceptable. So as I said, that, for example, I'm not doing it at this point. Let me show you mine. I'm at 717 stars and I'm 170 stars short. I mean, I have quite some time. I mean, I get happy when I get something from a faction that I don't have completed yet. But the thing is, I recently got Mitrala and Pythian, and they were in both factions that I had completed before. So, I mean, I had 63 stars, which is completion, and I had Lizardman complete before I got Pythian, and I had Dark Elf complete because before I had Mitrala. But I didn't say, oh no, I'm not going to level these extremely insanely good champions because I have their factions complete. Because guys, this is just one champion. I know she's extremely good, but I mean, imagine me going for it right now. I have to do so much, right? I mean, I have to invest in skinwalkers, I have to invest in Sacred Order, I have to invest in dwarves a lot, right? I would need like level 3 champions here. I have only Geomancer here that's leveled and geared. So, but in time, if everything goes better, I can turn to. So what I'm trying to do is two birds with one stone, guys. I am trying to get a dwarf that's worthwhile, so I could level it and use it here, and let's say I hope I get a Tranda or Brogni and use it everywhere else too, so that my investment of energy doesn't go to waste. So as I said, this is the last layer of priority, I think. Do we have anything else? And there's tag team arena, guys. If you don't know, it actually gives you access to a sacred shard and the legendary book and rank and rarity charms every month. But the problem with here is, guys, this is the highest level of competition in the game. I mean, it's even harder than Hydra. It's extremely hard because the number of players that are allowed in tiers are just very low. Imagine being in the top 2,500 in the entire world, where there are people who spend at least $10,000 and up to $100,000 in this game. I mean, it's not very easy to compete with them. So, of course, you can be here too, but climbing into gold is serious business. I mean, only the strongest players are here. I would say past mid game ish with my 3 million power, and I try hard quite a bit, and I'm up to silver 2 this week only, and I don't know when silver 3 is happening, and I definitely don't know when gold is happening. It's very hard. So I mean, so this is the absolute latest priority, because guys, I mean, you have to invest so much, and you can access these, right? I mean, the investment is insane. I would say, I mean, there's no strict rule, but I would say around 10 million power or so are able to make it here. And even if you are able to make it here, which is enough, but staying here is something else. I mean, we have a very powerful clanmate. So what he does is, every CVC week he climbs up here, gold 1. He grabs these, he does his fights and brings extra points to the clan during CVC, and the next week he falls back to silver 4 because he is not able to stay here. So he is too strong for silver 4, but he is too weak for gold 1. There's such a thing too, guys. That's weird. I mean, in silver 4 no one attacks you, etc. You beat everyone with easy climb, and gold 1 says, okay, we are too much for you. Your defense is so weak, we will beat you all the time. So that's something that exists. So this is very good, guys, but also almost impossible. I mean, very late game stuff, I dare say end game. So that's how you should prioritize things, I would say. Did I miss anything? Well, Hydra is definitely beyond most of these, and before Tag Team Arena for sure, and after Hadum Tower for sure. And so the Hydra is, I mean, you can just level up 2 or 3 characters to make your Hydra work much easier. And as I said, some very specific characters are just for Hydra only, but I mean, that's Husk, right? Because Royal Guard is a very good leader for dungeons. Inquisitor Jamal is a very powerful single target nuker, can be used in PvP, can be used in Hard Doom Tower. I mean, the famous Hydra characters generally have their other uses, right? Ugo is pretty nice. That's just husk. So you can risk leveling a few characters for Hydra because the rewards are insane. As you know, it's the only way to get the mythical gear. You get clan gold out of it, you get clan XP out of it. It's pretty nice. And getting that last chest from normal would not be extremely hard for a person that's getting the last chest from Ultra Nightmare. So that's about it, guys. If you have any thoughts, let me know. See you. Bye bye.